I'm going to be reading and answering questions to a passage called The Strange Star. Before I read anything in the passage, I'm going to go over to my questions and just check them out so I know what information I should pay attention for in the story itself. So number 1 says, when does Rosie find a starfish? Number 2, what did Rosie do right after she found a starfish? Number 3, what did Rosie do right before she found a starfish? Number 4, when Papa first took Rosie to the beach at night, she didn't see any stars. Why? Number 5, how old do you think Rosie is? How can you tell? And number 6, think up another creative title for this story. So now I know just sort of what information I should pay attention for, which will hopefully make my question answering easier after I read the passage. So what I'm hearing is I need to pay attention to when she finds some sort of starfish, what happens before and what happens after, because that was 3 of the questions. So this is The Strange Star. Rosie loved watching the night sky. It shined with so many stars. Sometimes she would climb onto Papa's shoulders. She'd feel like a princess sitting closer to those stars. One afternoon, Papa said, "We're going to the beach. Won't that be fun?" Rosie wasn't sure. "Will my stars be there too?" "Maybe," Papa said. So they went to the beach, but it was foggy that night, so no stars in sight. "Let's see what happens tomorrow," Papa said. Okay, Rosie frowned. The next morning they went back to the beach and Rosie gathered seashells. Rosie found something strange. It looked like a big, orange, bumpy star. Had it fallen from the sky? And why wasn't it glowing? "It's not a star," Papa smiled. "It's a starfish. It lives in the ocean." Rosie put the starfish in the ocean. They watched the waves wash it back home. Then Rosie looked for more starfish. She liked stars and starfish. So that was the passage. And we're going to head over to the questions and read them again and answer them. When does Rosie find a starfish? And we just read that part. It was at the very end of the story when they went, where did they go? To the beach. So I'm going to look for an answer that says to the beach, and that's probably going to be my correct response. But I still want to read all of the options and think about them before I pick one. So we have A, at the beach, B, at night, C, in her backyard, or D, in the morning. Now let's think about this. In her backyard, do you think there's going to be a starfish? Probably not. I'm leaving at the beach open because that's what we just talked about, but I want to make sure that's the best choice. Option B said at night. We can think about, let's look back here. Well, right here it says the next morning they went back to the beach and Rosie gathered seashells. So it was morning time, not nighttime. D, in the morning. Okay, well, we just saw that it was in the morning, but it was also at the beach. So I would probably take either one of these responses, but I think the best choice would be at the beach because it's talking about more specifically when she found it, when they were at the beach. Yes, it was in the morning, but you know a little bit more about where and when the starfish was found with this response, but I would take either of those. Number 2. What did Rosie do right after she found a starfish? She gathered shells. She went to the beach. She climbed on Papa's shoulders. She put the starfish in the ocean. Well, Let's look back. I know towards the end is when she found the starfish, so I'm going to look in this area. Right here where it says Rosie found something strange. It looked like a big orange bumpy star. And then she was wondering if it fell from the sky. Oops. Papa said, "It's not a star." Papa smiled. "It's a starfish. It lives in the ocean." Rosie put the starfish in the ocean. They watched the waves wash it back home. So right there, what did she do when she found the starfish? Well, Papa told her what it was, and then she put it in the ocean. So she didn't gather shells right after. She didn't go to the beach. They were already there. And she didn't climb on his shoulders. She put the starfish back in the ocean. Number 3. What did Rosie do right before she found the starfish? She looked up in the night sky. She collected seashells. She looked for more starfish. She watched the waves take the starfish away. Let's think these answers through. We're asking, what did Rosie do right before she found a starfish? Now, our first option says she looked up in the night sky. Now, if you think about it, we have already looked back and figured out that they found the starfish in the morning. So there's no way she looked at the night sky before she found the starfish because it wasn't night. She collected seashells. Let's look back and see what she was doing. The next morning, they went back to the beach and Rosie gathered seashells. And then that's when she found something strange. And that strange item was the starfish. So she was collecting seashells right before she found the starfish, but I don't want to choose that yet. You have to always look at all the options. C. She looked for more starfish. Think about it this way. If she hasn't found a starfish yet, how does she know that she wants to look for more? Does it even make sense that she could have been looking for more starfish before she found her first one? No, because if you remember, she didn't even know what a starfish was until Papa explained it to her. So that's not a good choice. She watched the waves take the starfish away. It's kind of the same thing. There was no starfish to be washed away by the waves if she hadn't found it yet. So that's not a good choice either. She collected seashells is the best choice. Number 4. When Papa first took Rosie to the beach at night, why didn't she see any stars? Or she didn't see any stars. Why? So we go back to this page, let me erase. And let's look for when they went to the beach the first time. So about right here. One afternoon, Papa said, "We're going to the beach. Won't that be fun?" Rosie wasn't sure. "Will my stars be there too?" "Maybe," Papa said. So they went to the beach, but it was foggy that night, so no stars in sight. Okay, why couldn't they see any stars? Because it was foggy that night. So if we go back to here and try to put that in a complete sentence, we want to restate and say, she didn't see stars because, and then our reasoning, it was foggy. So you would write that on the line. I am writing on a screen with my finger, so my handwriting is not the best right now, but I will do my best to write this out. So we're going to write, she didn't see any stars because it was foggy. Period at the end. Next question says, about how old do you think Rosie is? How can you tell? Now this one, there's not going to be like a perfect exact answer for this. What I think is since Rosie didn't really know what a starfish was and wasn't sure what she'd be able to see at the ocean, I'm going to guess that she was pretty young. So I'm just going to pick a random number that's on the younger side. I'm going to just guess that she was about 4. So I'm going to say, to restate, because it says about how old do you think Rosie is? I'm going to say, I think Rosie is, oops, I double dotted my I, 4, because, and now we're answering the how can you tell part, because she didn't know what a starfish was. And I ran out of space, so I'm just going to go right under like this. Pretend there's another line. What a starfish was. And you could think a completely different number than I do, and that's perfectly okay. This is kind of like an opinion question. Then the last question says, think up another creative title for this story. And this is not a right or wrong answer either. It could just be whatever you think the story could be titled. So I'm going to put maybe The Fallen Star. Even though the starfish didn't actually fall from the sky, that was Rosie's first thought when she saw it. I just think that'd be a little creative title because it keeps the reader curious. Like, what? A fallen star? What does that mean? I want to read the story. But it's up to you. You could put whatever title you want. And you don't have to restate this question. You can just put your title. I'm going to put The Fallen Star. And when it's titles, you capitalize every letter of not every letter, the first letter of every word. Most words. You just don't capitalize like words like the, a, and. Only reason the is capitalized is because it's the first word. It's kind of like a confusing skill to learn, and we haven't worked on that one yet, so don't really worry about it. Yeah, so that's how we do comprehension questions. And there is a little extra activity you don't have to do, but it might be kind of fun. It says, on a sheet of white paper, make an illustration to go along with the story. Be sure you draw Rosie in your picture. Be sure your illustration is neat and colorful. So if you want to do that on the back, go right for it, but you don't have to. So while you're doing your own comprehension things, I know you don't have this exact story, just make sure you read the questions before you read the actual passage, because I think it makes it easier to look for your information. And then make sure you go back to find your answers. I mean, you saw how I went back and forth. I would look forward and underline important things. Even if I was pretty sure I knew the answer, it's always good to look back just for that 100% knowing that you are right.